as a child, unable to comprehend the magnitude of the genocide directed at the Jewish people. There is some need in us modern Jews, I suppose, to see it as some ancient event, like the destruction of the Jerusalem temple 2,000 years ago by the Romans. But that was all over for me after I met Jacquelina. The Holocaust had become fresh and immediate, and I decided I wanted to see as much of it as I could before it was too late. I also wanted my children to understand the Holocaust occurred during the lifetime of people they had met. It was June 2017. My children had just finished school and they were free all summer. I started thinking of a plan, one I worried they might hate. Every summer, my wife and I round up our 9 children and we go on a trip. We've been to the battlefields of the Civil War, the national parks. We've been to Israel, the Jewish homeland. We RV'd in Alaska. These trips tend to be joyful, a reprieve from the stress of the school year. But this year, I decided my children needed to learn about the Holocaust more than they needed a break. I was reminded of the ads they used to run at the end of the Super Bowl when someone would say to the star of the game, "You've just won the Super Bowl, now what are you going to do?" And they would answer, "I'm going to Disney World." In my case, it was more like, "All right, kids, you've just finished school. Guess what we're going to do now? Go to visit concentration camps." Our family trip, however, was logistically uneventful. That is, if you can call moving a family of 8, with all of its luggage, need for kosher food, last-minute housing, and time spent in a tightly packed car together, uneventful. The trip was nightmarish, however, in an entirely different and more profound way. We were not visiting the beautiful sights of Europe. Our goal was not museums, art galleries, shopping districts, and nightlife. Our mission, rather, was to explore the darkest places in Jewish and world history, where a monster named Adolf Hitler was born, where the final solution was formulated, where the ghettoization, deportation, and extermination of 6 million Jews was conducted, and where the last remnants of Eastern European Jewry subsist. This was also not a trip planned for years or even months in advance. I decided on a family vacation, a Holocaust holiday, at the end of June, largely because of a trip I'd taken to Poland in March with my daughters Shana, Baba, Rocholea, and Hannah, for the March of the Living, and at the invitation of my friend Elisha Wiesel, the only son of Elie Wiesel. It was during that pilgrimage to the sites of the Holocaust that I made up my mind to pay tribute to Elie and the survivors and victims of the Holocaust by bearing witness to the places where the final solution was planned and implemented. My desire to honor the world's best-known Holocaust survivor, human rights champion, and symbol of the Jewish community was inspired by my decades-long friendship with Elie, whom I always affectionately called Reb Eliezer, and who would in turn call me Reb Shmuel. Our relationship began while I was a rabbi at Oxford, where my wife and I ran a renowned Jewish student organization called the Oxford University L'Chaim Society, which we had started in 1988. I had been an avid student of Elie Wiesel's works for years. His books took me back to a terrible time where my people were starving for food, battling disease, fighting for survival, fearing deportations, and searching desperately for any trace of the God within, with whom they had laid their faith. Elie was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1986 and used his renown and influence to enshrine the memory of those for whom help never came, and to campaign to help save those being victimized today. It was Elie who pushed President Jimmy Carter to commission the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum, and who would speak truth to power by telling President Reagan he should not lay a wreath at the German cemetery in Bitburg because it has SS graves. Elie was committed to the welfare of all humanity.